My name is Yvette Kraychy, and I work for the Northwest Central Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder Network. I'm the InReach coordinator, and I'm here to share with you a little bit of information about FASD, how to get an assessment, and the processes that involve. We are one of 12 networks. We cover a very large geographical area, and in those areas we cover from Thorhild, Wasetna, Barhead, Westlock, all the way up to Jasper, Peerless and Trout, and Slave Lake. Within those areas, we have many support workers who are here to help you. I myself am one of them. FASD comes with 3 different diagnoses. So you can have FASD with sentinel facial features. With facial features, you can only receive those if mom consumed alcohol on the 19th, 20th, and 21st day of pregnancy. And most women don't even know they're expecting at that time. FASD without facial features, and that is where we go through the assessment process and individuals hit more than 3 domains and get that diagnosis. We also have at risk of FASD, and that is sometimes when we're unable to get that prenatal confirmation from mom or somebody from the maternal side of the family. In the following slide, you will notice how it happens. Alcohol is consumed by the mom during pregnancy, and when mom consumes alcohol, she drinks it on different occasions, not knowing that she's pregnant and not doing it to harm her unborn fetus. Alcohol flows freely to the fetus at 1-to-1 ratio, so whatever mom is consuming, so is her fetus. The only difference is mom's body will metabolize the alcohol differently than the fetus. The fetus will take a lot longer to process the alcohol and get it out of their system. In this slide here, it's great to have a visual. You get to see the fetus growing. Most women don't understand that right from conception, when drinking, alcohol affects the unborn baby. It affects the eyes, the ears, the brain, the heart, and the central nervous system. And as the fetus grows, as you can see in the photo, it affects different parts of the body. So it's always important to have those conversations and share with women about the dangers of drinking while pregnant. Prenatal alcohol exposure is one thing that we definitely need to get from you in order for us to move forward with an assessment and diagnosis. Women who consume alcohol consume it at different rates. Some consume daily and some consume just once in a while. We have had women who've shared their stories about, I didn't even know I was pregnant, and when I found out I was 3 months. And by the time I found out, I had been at a wedding, I'd been at a social gathering, or we celebrated my birthday. So that's why we go back and have those conversations. I've had other women say, oh no, as soon as I found out I was pregnant, that's it. I never had another drink. And that's when I ask those other questions. So before you found out you were pregnant, like, did you find out in your first trimester? Was it after your first missed period? Or how did that come about? And then we get into those conversations. And sometimes they say, you know what, I didn't even think about it because I was going by the day I found out I was pregnant. So this one lady didn't find out until she missed her 2nd period. And by then she'd already had a couple social gatherings that she's gone out to, a couple binge drinkings. And that's what we take into consideration. So when we need a prenatal alcohol exposure confirmation, we need it from the mother or from somebody from the maternal side. If mom is missing and unable to give us that confirmation, then we could take it from an aunt, uncle, grandparent, brother, sister, who is on the maternal side. Our core team members is huge. We have a wonderful team of doctors. On the adult team, we have the physician, the psychologist, and the occupational therapist, along with the clinic team member. So the lady from our organization, she sets everything up, makes all the appointments to make sure things happen. And then we set the client up, and one of us usually goes with the individual to these appointments to make sure that they're comfortable and feeling well. Just so you have that extra person just to communicate to when you're on a break or when you just need to get out of there if you find things are overwhelming. And during this day, it's a full day. We go in, we meet up with the psychologist, he does his testing along with the occupational therapist. Some of the testing consists of, do you know how to write a check? What about budgeting? Can you do banking? Can you pay your bills on time? And stuff like that. And then we have the children's team, which consists of the speech language pathologist, the pediatrician, and the child psychologist. This is also another full day, which could be broken into 2 days. It's a lot of work and a lot of learning for the children. So we try to do what meets their needs. And they're going to have a lot of reading tests, writing tests, just getting to know where they're at. We don't want to do that shame and blame because many moms don't even know that they're pregnant. over 50% of pregnancies are unplanned. So when we're working with women, we need to be sensitive about the subject and understand where they're coming from. Not everyone has had a healthy lifestyle or supports throughout those pregnancies. This is one of my favorites, the red Solo cup. When I go into the high schools, I have kids that I bring up to the front and I'm just like, hey, why don't you guys show me what you pour a drink as? So we all take turns pouring drinks and stuff like that. And I had one girl tell me, she goes, yeah, well, I only had 2 drinks, so I don't know what the big deal was. And I said, well, come up here. I said, pour me a drink. So she came up and she poured me a drink. And when she was done, I took her glass and I put out the shot glasses. And I put them, what she had poured for hard alcohol, she had said it was vodka, into these shot glasses. We came out with like 3.5 shot glasses. So when I explained to her what the lines were on the red Solo cup, so you see on there the bottom line, that bottom line is for 1.5 ounces of hard alcohol. The middle line is what we would put for a glass of wine, which is 5 ounces, and then the top line would be a beer or cooler. So when she showed me that that is what one of her drinks were, and then I said, well, how many did you have at the party? And she goes, well, I only had 2. So technically I said to her that she had consumed probably 7 average drinks. And she couldn't believe it. She goes, no way. She goes, that's not possible. And I said, well, it's very possible, because think about it. When we go into an establishment, they do use that measurer, right? So if they're going to use that 1.5 ounce to measure us a cup, we know we're getting the standard drink. But if we're out camping or at a bush party, as some of the kids go to, then it's going to be totally different. And that's when we have those conversations later. Okay, so you said 1 drink. What would you classify that drink as? Like, how much did you put in your glass? How many of them did you consume? And then we start a conversation that way. Primary disabilities. Primary disabilities, there's a huge list there, as you can see. We talk about clients and how many individuals struggle and what capacity that they're at. Some of the individuals that I work with struggle with sensory issues. So if they were to come into the room that I'm in today and there's these fluorescent lights, they wouldn't be able to handle it. They would hear the buzzing and the humming of the light and not be able to focus. Even if somebody was bouncing their leg beside them, the sound of the pants rubbing together, that is huge for them. That distracts them and then they're not able to focus. Memory, dates, and times. We have to remember to be sensitive and kind when we're coming to those. I know doctors' offices have been very understanding. Clients don't always make their appointments. That's why when we're working with clients with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, we're trying to book those appointments on the same day, same time. So say Monday, 2 p.m. Every appointment's Monday at 2 p.m. Saves us a lot of heartache with the clients not being able to understand and make it there. And then the doctors are saying, well, I'm sorry, you have 3 strikes and you can't come back. So we're trying to set them up for success, not failure. This slide here, what you see is not what you get. This is actually very true for a lot of individuals that I work with. I have one gentleman, he's in his 60s. He's been amazing my entire time here with the network. He likes to joke around a lot, never know if he's pulling my leg, telling the truth, or whatever. He can express himself extremely well. But when it comes down to, say, paying bills and stuff like that and reading, he always knows what to say, just because it's that learned behavior. And when we end up in the justice system, he knows what to say to the judge, and then we'll get out and he'll be extremely upset and saying, I don't understand, I don't know why he kept saying that to me, and what am I supposed to do? So he knows what to say and he knows how to respond, but he's not processing it. And we look at living skills. Would you leave your 11-year-old child at home to pay the bills? Lots of individuals aren't able or capable of doing that. They get the money and it's just like, hey, I want that new tablet, I'm gonna go shopping, and they're not able to pay their rent. So this is a good time for us to set them up, say for third-party payments through AISH, and make sure that all their bills and stuff are paid. Time, sometimes an issue. Money, very often an issue. Some of the adverse outcomes is mental health issues. Many individuals that I work with struggle with mental health and addictions. It's finding those ways for them to feel complete, feel like everybody else. They wonder, why can't I do this? Why am I not fitting in? Many struggle with substance abuse and addictions, housing, also along with unplanned pregnancies. So making sure that we do have those doctors, getting them to those appointments and setting them up. So if we have those appointments that we can follow through with them, then that's important for us to do so. Sometimes individuals with FASD, they say that their brains feel like they're just going to explode, everything's moving, and that they can't seem to concentrate. So we need to break things down for them. We need to do things, 1 or 2 things at a time. Don't give a whole bunch of directions. I can't explain to somebody, okay, you need to go do this, this, and this. Go get the garbage, take it out, put another garbage in, and then vacuum and clean your bedroom. I've lost them completely. So the best thing is for me to say, hey, would you mind taking the garbage out? And if I need them to take it all the way out, not just say take it out, because they might just put it outside the door, say, can you please take it out to the garbage bin? We need to be very clear and use clear language. Lots of individuals have the fight or flight, and this could be very common for some and not so for others. I do have an individual that doesn't matter. We could be driving down the street and he sees the RCMP and his hand is waving in a not very nice gesture. And I always have to ask him, why are you doing that? And he goes, because they're watching me, they're coming after me. So from behaviors and situations in the past that they've learned, it's like when they're scared and don't know what to do, they freeze or they run. So supporting them in those situations, teaching them the strategies and resources of how to say, hey, you know what? That's just their job. They're just driving by. They're not looking for you. It's okay. I'm here with you. And if they do need to talk to us, don't worry. I'm your advocate. We can work through this. In the slide here, individuals suffer from mental health problems and anxiety. Anxiety is huge. We notice that with clients, many of them go undiagnosed. So it's really important to recognize those targets and those little cues that we're getting to make sure that they're getting the supports that they need. Lots of times they just don't know how to reach out and get those supports. Visuals. Visuals are one of the main key things, I believe, working with anybody with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. I think it's really important to set them up for success. We're wanting to set things in their homes and where they work. It doesn't matter if we put up calendars as those little reminders, set every date on that calendar. So when they go through the kitchen or go through their office, they're like, oh yeah, hey, today is such and such date and I have this appointment. Also Post-its. I usually carry Post-its around and I write on Post-its so that they can stick those in their house and take with them as well. I text people the day before their appointments because then they have that visual on their phone as well. We put it in their calendars on their phone along with even just that extra phone call. Individuals struggle with problems in school and learning. That's very common. They fall through the cracks. We have hands-on learning. So hands-on learning, let's adapt to the individual's abilities. Work with what's working for them. It might only work for a short period of time, and that's okay, as long as it's working. We have to realize that when a woman consumes alcohol, it's not always in that first trimester. It might be the second and it might be the third. So it's affecting the entire body. It could be affecting the internal organs, the limbs. We have clients that go into the doctor's office and the doctor tells me that, oh, they're just seeking medication, that there's nothing wrong with them. And then that's when it's so important for us to find that right doctor that's going to listen and understand that the FASD brain works differently and so does their body. Individuals with FASD have problems with employment. This is very common. I've had a gentleman who had a wonderful job. It was perfect for him. He worked nights, the boss was very understanding, but it got to the point where they started putting more and more on his plate. His anxiety shot up and he wasn't able to continue working there because he was making mistakes. He was making mistakes with the cash, with the shelving and stuff like that. His anxiety was getting to where he was not able to communicate properly with some of the customers. So we have to remember when our individuals are looking for employment that we help them, that we maybe talk to their boss and explain, you know what, can we keep it small? Can we keep it to so many hours a day? And even afternoons. Afternoons might work better because they don't sleep well, so let's get them an afternoon job or evening job. Required attitudes. It's really, really important. We all have to think. We have to think, what can we do, what can we change, and how can we do it? Because we can't cure an individual with FASD. We need to work with them where they're at. We need to care about them and what they're capable of doing, what they want to get done, and what goals and hopes and dreams that they have. It's not about stopping and changing them, because we can't change who they are, but we can work with who they are to make them greater, better, and for them to achieve things in life that they want. So I'd like to thank you all so much for joining me today and listening to a little information about FASD and what we do and how we can help you. I'm able to be contacted through email or the phone number on the slide here. I can also come in and help with applications for assessment and help set things up for you while you're in facility or when you get released into the environment. If you know where you're going, I can make some phone calls. I can help get support set up for you before you get released. Thank you.